I'm glad you're home.
What's wrong? You look like you've seen a bear.
On the television. Just now on the news. These two people, they took him on board and measured him and everything. Oh, I just knew it. Just knew it. Where's that whiskey you bought?
Damn, must be something big. Pour me one, too.
I knew I was right, Sheldon. I knew it. A spaceship came.
Here?
No, not here. Out on the desert. They measured them.
What were you watching? A movie about tailors from outer space?
No. They scanned them with this machine like they have at the airport. Oh, I just knew it. I knew it.
Arlene, sit down. Got something important to tell you. I'm leaving.
Why, Sheldon? What did I do?
Nothing. Oh, I gotta get something going. I need some money. Can't live on thin air.
I've got money. You can stay here. Find a job. Thought we were having fun together.
I am. But I don't take money from women. Oh, I could scare something up with Brother Bud, maybe, but the way you feel about him, I'd never hear the end of it.
Don't you ever just work at a regular job, like at a factory or something?
I've worked at factories before, but it ain't exactly, what I see myself at.
Well, Sheldon, what do you see yourself doing?
It's a tough one. Moving. Getting by.
But if you keep moving...
maybe I'll catch up with it. I gotta catch me.
And a steady woman?
Don't you have any easy questions in there?
Please stay, Sheldon. Please.
Hello, and welcome to Still Watching the Skies for April 2026. I'm Robert Reinecke.
I'm Nat Elmorel.
I'm Cody Lang.
Every month we explore the lesser discussed science fiction movies of the past. Some famous, some obscure, some good, some bad, some hard to describe, all which we believe will create interesting conversations. That brings us to this month's film, which is hard to classify a year from. It's 1981's or 1985 Euphoria. Nat picked the film, so he's going to tell our listeners about it, and then we're going to discuss it. So take it away, Nat.
Yeah, I was going to open with that too. I've also seen conflicting reports of it being completed in 1980 as opposed to 81, and release date as listed as 1984, but which is IMDb, but Wikipedia has it as October 1985. And also weird, like when you read the Roger Ebert review, I forget what date that's stamped as, but he also does mention it in the same sentence as Repo Man and Hannah and Her Sisters. And Hannah and Her Sisters, I believe, is 1986. So who the hell knows? It's at least in that first half decade of the 80s.
Yeah, I believe it was shot in like 80 or 81, judging by, the looks of Harry Dean Stanton and Fred Ward.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, because I also followed this up, or at least my second watch of this up, with the obligatory viewing of Tremors. And Fred Ward ages some from there, but he's
Yes.
still Fred Ward.
Yeah.
No, but and also, how are we all pronouncing this? My gut feeling is to say Euphoria.
I'm doing Euphoria because based on the closing credit song.
Okay, yeah. But I think also if you're looking at it, the pun is UFOria.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a science fiction comedy film directed by John Binder and starring Fred Ward, Harry Dean Stanton, Harry Carey Jr., and Cindy Williams. Released at some point in the first 5 years of the 1980s. I looked up some of John Binder's other filmography. I couldn't find too much of what he's done, but I did find that the cinematographer David Myers Longtime listeners may recognize him from other podcasts we've done on such films as Human Highway and
Okay.
also THX 1138, although I believe he was director of photography on that and not necessarily cinematographer. Nevertheless, um,
I mean, that makes sense too if you're gonna hire somebody that did THX 1138 for your science fiction comedy.
I think so.
Yeah. And
Uh,
Human Highway makes sense too.
Human Highway
Very much
made
so.
way more sense than THX.
Yes, it does. But you have some special effects. You want somebody that knows some about special effects, and the director of Human Highway. Yep.
Oh yeah. I will also say general plot synopsis. This is just taken from Wikipedia, but Sheldon Bart, who's played by Fred Ward, is a drifter, small-time con man, meets up with his brother, appropriately named Brother Bud Sanders, who is also a con man, basically posing as a faith healer in a small town somewhere in the American Southwest. And while he's basically conning some of the citizens there, at least for one night, he also strikes up a relationship with Arlene, played by Cindy Williams, who is a ardent believer in UFOs. And basically, their relationship, his entertaining and then eventually kind of succumbing to her beliefs and overall loneliness is kind of a point of contention between he and his brother. Also fuels a lot of their relationship antics. And we can probably get into some more details of the plot as we go into it. But I will say before I toss it over to you guys that yeah, this is one I'd never heard of before I went actively looking for high-rated sci-fi films, and who could resist this cast? I think we all are big fans here of Harry Dean Stanton, and probably have are some Cindy Williams admirers, and I love me some Fred Ward. Harry Carey Jr., he's great, but I honestly don't recall even who he was, his character in this movie. Um,
Do we have a Twin Peaks connection in here?
I was going to say, we have a lot of Twin Peaks connections here. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, I'll jump to that then because that was in my notes. Although this one isn't on Wikipedia, but the guy who plays the Colonel is also the old waiter who is very unhelpful when Agent Cooper is shot in the Great Northern.
Yes.
We have obviously Harry Dean Stanton, who appears in both Twin Peaks: The Return and Fire Walk with Me. We also, it's a tenuous connection, but one nonetheless. I think JTL actually mentioned this a long time ago, and I totally see it in this movie that Cindy Williams reminds him a lot of Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, I can
And
see it.
there's also the Deschanel connection with Twin Peaks. But were there any ones I missed, Robert?
Um, I mean, I just got the general Twin Peaks vibe out of it, but I didn't. I mean, the Colonel and Harry Dean Stanton are obvious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like
Um,
I.
oh yeah.
So it
And
has that going for it.
but yeah, it was just one of these movies that popped up. I'd never heard of it before, and I was surprised because I like these actors, and I do actively seek out a lot of the movies that they make. And also saw that Roger Ebert had given this a 4-star review when he first reviewed it, which is surprising because usually those are movies that tend to be fairly well known, tend to be highly regarded, tend to still be in the cultural conversation, whatever you think of
Hmm.
Ebert. The man did have some taste and could nail some of those movies that would stand the test of time, but this one just doesn't seem to be in the conversation. And
I feel that they've had rights issued with the music,
I was going to
so that
say,
they didn't have a DVD release or a
yeah.
Blu-ray release. I guess until later this week, because
Hmm.
they have a 4K coming out this month.
Which is, I had no idea of that either.
No.
So I'm almost a believer at this point in the supernatural forces of this film. Nevertheless, I think I've gone on long enough just kind of setting it up. So, um, Robert, I'll toss it over to you. What did you think of Euphoria aka UFOria.
I'm just going to call it Euphoria just because it's easier.
Okay. I just figured we should at least acknowledge that
We will
it's
we will acknowledge the pun that's in the title,
yes.
but I'm just going to call it Euphoria. Um, I kind of like it. I feel like it has, the plot is kind of meanders quite a bit there, but I like hanging out with Harry Dean Stanton and Cindy Williams and Fred Ward, and I think, I thought Williams was kind of sweet and likable, and playing a character with more dimension that she had in Laverne and Shirley, and I mean, I feel like Laverne and Shirley kind of derailed her movie career, and I guess it was shot in the middle of it. But she had been in American Graffiti and
The
The
conversation.
Conversation prior, so it's like she had a movie career, buddy. And I'm sure she made a lot of money in TV because that was like a top 10 rated show for 4 years or so.
Back when top rated shows or top 10 rated shows were
Yes.
a big, big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was canceled when it had like a 19 share, which would be like higher than anything other than the Super Bowl, basically.
Hmm.
Um, so, um, but I thought, it gives her something to do, and I thought she's very good. And Fred Ward is doing this kind of Waylon Jennings type thing, but he's being Fred Ward and charming. And, uh, Harry Dean Stanton is Harry Dean Stanton, and I'm always there for him. And I kind of felt like we don't see enough films these days, other than maybe your odd Superman film, where they spend time in a rural setting with rural people and uh, get to know them a bit. And I felt that was a nice change of pace. Um, I kind of feel like the um, UFO subplot where Cindy Williams has a vision is kind of like the flip side of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where she kind of tracks onto the Richard Dreyfuss character, and Fred Ward is kind of the Terry Garr character, but Fred Ward is more supportive. Or he doesn't go, "You're crazy, I'm walking away." In fact, that's kind of his whole arc. Is he's not. He may think she's crazy, but he's not walking away. And I found that a nice change of pace, and I like the face, the faith for belief for rationality kind of balance that's going on there. But I mean, I like all of that, but I kind of feel like there's a lot of the movie where it's just kind of spinning its wheels. Um, I may find Fred Ward charming even when it's spinning its wheels, but it's kind of like after the initial setup and before the climax, there's not much that happens. And although I do like kind of the satire of television and televangelism, basically. I like that, but not much happens plot wise in that. And was left with, I thought it was a pleasant watch, if not a great movie, but it deserved better than it's gotten credit for. I mean, um, I had heard of it, but never seen it, and I'm glad I saw it. But I don't think it's a great movie, but it's a nice little pleasant movie that I could hang with Fred Ward for a long time. But Fred Ward was never a star, but I always like watching Fred Ward. So I feel like that kind of sums up the movie. Never, not a major film, but a fun little film. With and I find the relationship between Fred Ward and Cindy Williams kind of touching. So liked all that. I don't know if I have a whole lot to say beyond that. So why don't I kick it over to you, Cody?
Just getting my mute button here. I think well, I don't want to be a downer. I didn't really like it, but I'll try to explain why. Um, I think so. I feel like the main, or like the film hinges on the relationship between Fred Ward and what's her name? Sydney what?
Cindy
Cindy
Williams?
Williams.
Sydney Williams?
Yep.
Cindy.
Yeah, okay. So I found her really annoying. Um, but that's more of a personal thing. I think Fred Ward is pretty good. I don't know if he can carry a film. Um, I think I knew the sort of twist or like what you'd call, well, it's not really a twist, but the sort of ending, and I do like that ending. I want to discuss later, like once we get over our initial thoughts, like whether you guys think it's literal or not. I take it as being literal, but I could see it being construed in a different way. I think so I don't know why, like I don't know what kind of movie they were trying to make because there seems to be, and this I think explains a bit of the not the production issues, but the we could say the distribution issues on home video, and I don't know why it was delayed for 4 years after it being filmed, but if it's due to the music, that would kind of make sense. But it seems to be like almost every scene is bookended by like a country music song or a fade into it, or like this element is very prominent in the
Yes.
film. So much so, like even in the story, it takes like a sort of like turn that I was kind of not really expecting. I didn't really know like what to think of it. But I've never seen a film like where I would say like the music choices are they kind of overpower everything else. Like, um, and I'm not a country music fan, so maybe that is also why I didn't like it that much.
I can understand that.
Um, like I like certain things that might be construed as country, like some Neil Young stuff or some Bob Dylan
Hmm.
stuff. But like overall, like I know that there's like a big fan base for this kind of music, and I'm just not it. So that's that. But
I mean,
I did find,
specifically, I think Waylon Jennings is the touchstone here.
Hmm.
yeah, but I just feel like that was such a integral part of the film that if you don't appreciate that or latch onto it, then I think it comes off as a bit puzzling because there's just so much um like there's so much repetition of that kind of music, and it just doesn't seem like kind of justified by what's happening in the story, I guess. And I feel like they could have, I don't know, maybe like played up the sort of religious stuff a bit more. I did find it kind of get to a bit of a lull in the middle. Although I did like when it became, there's a conflict between the main lady and Fred Ward, and then Harry Dean Stanton's character, where he's trying to monopolize on it and make it turn into like a new type of grift. Now I don't know, like I'm not sure like how religious people would take the alien thing. Like I'm from a religious background. I'm not religious anymore, but I think like that would probably annoy the people I grew up with. Like I don't think they would want to be associated with UFOs or stuff like
Hmm.
that. But yeah, o overall I would say it's a, if we're going to use the Ebert terminology, two thumbs down for me. Having said that, I did watch it on a pretty bad transfer. So I think if I was to watch it um in like the restored 4K from Kino Lorber, which I think just came out in March, or maybe that's just the Blu-ray, I'm not sure. I think I'd have a bit of a more positive effect because there was like some nice cinematography of like the country and landscape.
Hmm.
Um, so I do think I kind of didn't get the full experience, so to speak, but from like a story character perspective, yeah, it didn't really work for me. I guess we could maybe comment a bit, I'll have you guys talk a bit about this too, but it does like backload the quote unquote sci-fi elements to like really the end of the film.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I guess Close Encounters does that too, but I think in Close Encounters, like I like at least the first time I saw it, like I remember thinking like, okay, like this guy's not crazy, like there is going to be aliens you know?
But we see the UFOs early.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I just feel like that, like it's kind
We
of
have
different.
proof. We are witnesses. We have proof.
Yeah, and I think just because like for in this film it comes like so like the way it comes out is that it's a dream, but it's like we're hearing about it. We're not like seeing it. We're not like seeing it or seeing like any kind of visual about it. So I think that is maybe the other thing that was lacking a bit when that plot element was brought up. Um, but yeah, I'll turn it to you guys because I think we can kind of go through the story and elements and bounce off that. But overall,
But
I
yeah.
think I had some issues with it. Yeah.
Well, I really do think you hit on the main conflict theme, which is faith without proof.
Yeah, which is fine if that's like if that's what they're
Yeah,
going for. That's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, sorry, go ahead, Nat.
no, I like it too, and I kind of like it a little bit more. I think it is something where there is a direction that it wants to go in, but sometimes the momentum getting there can sort of fizzle out. But that said, I almost feel like this would be something maybe better served as a television series than a film. And like the Twin Peaks comparison that you brought up, Robert, I think that's where the heart of this movie is a little bit more placed.
Hmm.
The comparison to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think is apt. But I think Close Encounters is dealing more with one man's obsession, and here I think it's a little bit more of
It's not obsession.
it's
It's
not obsession, it's just kind of
it's
like
belief.
loneliness and provinciality.
Yeah.
Basically kind of like trying to find something to occupy your time or your life in a very small town. And that's one thing where I really like the cast of this, not just the main three, but everybody else in the town. And I think the movie is really trying to go out of its way to give a bunch of those characters like little moments so that you, even though I can't remember who Harry Carey was, I do remember a lot of the side characters, like the married couple who has a UFO encounter that Cindy Williams goes to see and that are on television.
Hmm.
The guy who helps basically Harry Dean Stanton steal cars. The other guy who's kind of like his big dumb henchman lackey, but who's a nice guy. Um, and so I think that it is more like look at these quirky people in this town. And yeah, I think faith is definitely a theme, but I think even more so the idea of it is kind of this con man who basically dresses like Waylon Jennings, kind of speaks with a tinge of that, with by way of Elvis as well. Um, who basically doesn't have anything serious in his life, but then kind of takes up with this woman and sort of, finds some meaning in something where it very well could be a con, but and his brother wants to make it a con, but Cindy Williams just believes in it so much and doesn't want to make it a con. It's just like pure belief, kind of converts him. Um, and I think that's a little bit more of the theme that ultimately it does kind of end up being a character study of this one person as opposed to
Hmm.
maybe like an obsession. But I think it also does want to spend a lot more time with the other characters of this town.
Yeah. No, I feel like it part of it is a redemption story for Fred Ward.
Hmm.
He's he's redeemed by putting his faith in Cindy Williams and trusting her and believing in her and the love for her. I mean, she prays that she doesn't want to be lonely, but I
Hmm.
kind of feel like she's also praying that he doesn't want to be lonely either.
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like they kind of have a meet cute where she notices that he's shoplifting because he doesn't have any money and she's onto him, but not going to report him. And you can kind of see that it kind of punctures his pride.
Hmm.
But I feel that's like part of that why he attracts himself to her because she's kind in that moment too, in
And
a way.
it's also a conquest too, because
Yeah.
she kind of rejects him at first, and then he takes her out for a drink, and
She doesn't
she
drink. It's against her religion.
yeah, but she puts yeah, that's the thing, but that's even more of a challenge is that he lays it on thick and she says, "No, I'm very, very religious," but then they sleep together that same night and she kind of
Yeah.
like regrets it, but not really. Um and
She wants to put her drinking and her sexing and behind her.
mhm. And you also have Harry Dean Stanton who basically is like tr kind of trying to break them up, but I like that this movie isn't very overt in a lot of things. Like there'll be hints or suggestions or things like that, but it doesn't linger on those sorts of things. It doesn't make a big to-do of it. Like you get Harry Dean Stanton telling the joke about the fox with his tail run over and then
Hmm.
looking back at the train and getting his head run over and don't lose your head over a little piece of tail.
Yep.
And you do get him kind of like maybe not exploding at her, but they have a bit of a confrontation, but it's more over him wanting to turn her popularity as kind of a UFO witness leader into that grift. But I think he is kind of subtly trying to undermine that relationship throughout the film.
I mean, I think that's partly because, Fred Ward is his brother,
Hmm.
and he kind of thinks of Fred Ward as like himself, having the same needs that he has, which is just to make money, and doesn't take the religious aspects at all seriously.
Hmm.
And Cindy Williams does take it seriously, even if she is a sinner.
Oh yeah. No, and I really like her performance in this. Like I maybe could see where you could find it annoying, but I do think she is pretty adorable in this. I like how she can go from being very vulnerable and definitely playing off like the loneliness, but then when threatened with him leaving her, she still will like stick to her convictions of there being like a UFO event, even when she's challenged about it. And it's like she is so damn sure of this thing that she's willing to give up this, what is basically like the best relationship or most significant relationship, tangible relationship that she's ever had in her life. And I think she balances that really, really well. And she also like she's very attractive, but it's also not like drop dead gorgeous. And that's another thing I
Hmm.
really like about these stars that and it maybe is more of an 80s 70s thing too, but they don't look like movie stars. But they just give really, really good performances, and I totally buy them as people in a small town anywhere in the US. Um, at yeah, Southwest US works just fine.
Yeah, I mean it's an '80s film, but it feels like a '70s film in a bunch of ways.
Hmm. But
Yeah, the Southwest setting, I think that works well for it. It feels like it's different. I feel like it's technically set in California, but it might as well be Nevada or Arizona. There, it's certainly not. It's certainly not the suburbs that Spielberg would set his film in.
no, and I think it also gets like really conveys that idea of isolation and basically nothing
Mhm.
to do. Like everybody in this town does seem really, really bored and just kind of like living their life, but not having much to do outside of like either drink and watch TV or drink and go to a faith healing uh sermon.
Yeah, and I feel like Brother Bud is not really fooling anybody, but they have nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly. And this is also like a good run of Harry Dean Stanton as basically like con men preachers. Because you have that he's basically a similar role in Wise Blood, and then he's Saul later in Last Temptation of Christ,
Mm.
who well, when he was Saul, was not the best of people before he became Paul, but the man's just built to be a preacher, I guess. But
He
I
has that legitimate country feeling going for him.
oh yeah. And I yeah, I like the short-sightedness too of his brother showing up with like a bum leg or whatever at the first meeting and then him healing his leg. It's like, okay, well, we can only do that for that one night. Like I can't do that the next night because it's going to be all the same people.
Yeah, which is like doesn't even work on anybody in this town. Everybody knows everybody.
Hmm.
He's kind of like going, "You really didn't have a bad leg.
Oh yeah.
You didn't really have a bad arm, and oh, you're lifting it. Okay."
Hmm.
And that's like they're gonna run into you the next day anyhow.
Oh yeah.
Even if
Well,
you
as
didn't do some sort of uh, force of will or just get caught up in the moment, you're not gonna be able to do that again. It's not permanent.
hmm yeah.
But again, it's like, who are you really fooling here? I think the only one you're really fooling here is yourself.
Well, as long as he's able to get away with it and
Yeah.
then start hawking stolen cars, it seems to do a pretty nice job. But I don't know, what do you think of some of the other characters throughout the town though? Like there's the other checkout guy who
Mhm.
um tells the one woman that like you shouldn't eat that much meat. That's why you and your kids are so fat.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask about some of those characters, like were they just there to have these kind of one-off scenes?
I think so.
I
It
I
seems like
think so
that,
too.
yeah.
I feel like I wonder how much of this is written down and how much of it was just improv.
Like I was like way down rabbit hole. Like I was like, okay, is this gonna be like an alien? Like that we find out that he's an alien, like because he's acting
Mhm.
so blunt and forthcoming or something. And then obviously that didn't happen. But then
No.
the other blonde guy, the other tall blonde guy who kind of helps him in the bar fight, like he seems very off too.
Hmm.
Like I'm not saying he's an alien, but I'm just saying like there's some weird performances in it where they're
Yeah.
kind of like Twin Peaks-esque in that they're just kind of singular and they kind of
hmm
like a non sequitur feel to them.
Well, and
I
like
kind
the
of feel like
other
all the performances are kind of just a little bit off.
they are. And I kind of like that. Like the other married couple, not the ones who were abducted, but the other couple I think at the beginning of the film who live in like the weird like mini chalet uh are bizarre and I don't remember when they showed back up in the film. I like the Colonel as he's checking out. He's like, did I ever tell you the story of when I realized I was old? It's when I realized all my dreams were memories. And it's just like for that scene.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I didn't even think though that like they would be revealed to be aliens. I just kind of yeah thought of them more in that Twin Peaks vein of just quirky, strange. I don't want to say backwoods or hicks or anything like that, but
Yeah.
basically kind of provincial residents.
Rural.
Yeah,
I was getting prepared to yell at you, Nat, for picking a non-sci-fi movie.
I'm worried you still are. To be fair, though, and that is something that we can get into too, is every description of this does lead with like science fiction. It'll also have like comedy drama, whatever with it, but it is listed as a science fiction film.
Yes.
I'm
It
I
depends on how
mean,
literal you take the ending.
and I'm with Cody too. I take it as literal. I think this movie tends to be very literal in a lot of its stuff,
Hmm.
and um,
It's not trying to fool you.
no, no,
And
but
it's not trying to get you to rethink everything at the end of the movie.
no, but I think it's also like meant to signify something.
Hmm.
And I think for one, it's to validate Cindy Williams, but I think
Hmm.
also to serve as like validation of their relationship. And
Yeah.
I think they keep it a little bit ambiguous even till the very end when Fred Ward says he'll come back for her or he's like trying to make a getaway with her.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I feel like with seeing that UFO, I'm fairly confident that he still is going to come back with her. Like he's in this relationship for the long haul. Um, I feel like that's kind of how it may be intended, but I don't know. I'm open to interpretation or different perspectives of that.
See, I didn't really know what to think of the ending, just that, oh, she was right the whole time, and the whole world around them, their whole community is kind of going to shit. Like, um, that's just their escape. But I don't know what it means. Like okay, so they get abducted and then seemingly get
They're not
killed.
going to jail.
I
Well,
don't know. Like,
are they even getting abducted though?
well, yeah, are they just or are they just looking at the saucer?
I think of it more as like it's a distraction that basically lets them get away.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so maybe I'm just reading into it then. Yeah, they're maybe they didn't even get abducted. They just looked, yeah, they saw it, it gets everyone's attention and they're able to get away. Yeah. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Like I mean logistically it makes sense with what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're getting away somehow, and Redward's faith in Cindy Williams is being rewarded.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like
it's just
it's
like
like,
they're like to
are they
me,
literally being going into the flying saucer and getting away, or is the distraction, I guess, is left ambiguous?
yeah. Um like to me I just didn't feel like there was enough of a of tension around like this person is crazy and it's
Yeah,
like wrecking her life
yeah. There's
it
not enough doubt
like
there.
there yeah there wasn't much material change. Now having said that it's not it's I didn't actually think of Close Encounters until you guys brought it up, but I don't know, like, and that's where I go back to like what I was saying before, which I feel like the director and writer, like I don't know like what they were trying to do with this film. Like there is this very heavy country music element that I
Yeah,
just don't know like what it has to do with this story, aside from the fact that these are rural people and rural
yeah,
people
Hmm.
listen to country music.
yeah.
That's about it. Like I don't even know like Waylon Jennings' music and
He's
like
kind of an
how
romantic outlaw figure.
yeah, but like this guy's
Yeah,
barely an outlaw. He's just doing whatever he can to make money because
he's kind of a
uh,
self-aggrandizing
yeah, I'm assuming
himself.
that it's
Yeah,
in the backdrop of like early globalization where all of the good jobs were getting shipped overseas. Or not good jobs, but like stable jobs where you can make a living and,
hmm,
support a family and stuff. And so he's having to go after rent-seeking activity where he's, like, essentially just a con man of sorts. And I do like the one thing that kind of makes sense is that she is a bit of his salvation. Like she does make his life better in some way.
hmm.
But yeah, that's where I always kind of go back to like what I think the film is like showing us and like what the story is actually about. It seems like a bit disjointed.
I think too, like this is something where it just also may be a little bit more of a product of its time because I don't know if there are that many films or any content really that is kind of taking the piss out of televangelists. And I do feel that like the 80s was a pretty prevalent time for that, where you would
Hmm.
have kind of like a lot of
Yeah.
basically like con men, preachers
I
on
kind of
television.
remember. I kind of think of Nashville, and was it Henry Gibson's character in Nashville, who's not necessarily a televangelist, but certainly is playing in that ballpark there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very, very.
When did Wise Blood come out? But that's not really televangelist though. That's
No,
just
that's
like a
1980.
yeah.
So
And
it
that's
would have
like
been made pretty close to like around the same time. But I mean
yeah.
that story was written, I think, like in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, it's a like old-timey preacher. Yeah, it's not really a televangelist. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um hmm, yeah.
But I think also with this, like there definitely is maybe technological or sort of like mass audience element to it when
Hmm.
she goes to I don't even remember if it's like a TV show or just like kind of a county event, but they have all these people who are basically like Brother Bud, um,
Hmm.
who are kind of preaching their own thing.
That
And
feels kind of a new agey 70s thing.
yeah, yeah. And also if you remember going to an airport back then and seeing,
Yes.
like Hare Krishnas and Jerry's Kids and all that.
There's a good joke about that in Airplane.
Yes, there absolutely is. That's actually where I got it. But they have like the one guy who's like a Swami, or at least is referred to as such by Fred Ward, where he's saying, "I don't
Hmm.
believe in any of your bullshit, but I believe in her." Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I think the main thing is just really I don't know if
But
there were that many other pieces of content that were doing the sort of thing of satirizing it or um,
no, I don't think a whole lot, but
No,
it was in the air.
I can't think of any.
But I
Um,
think they're kind of satirizing the redneck hero thing a bit. That like Smokey and the Bandit, and he is kind of playing a Smokey and the Bandit instead of running bootleg Coors across the Mississippi. He's running cars back and forth, but he's really not the romantic figure that Burt Reynolds is. He's kind of full of
no,
shit.
but he does have an arc though. Like
Yes.
he does find something to believe in with
Hmm.
her as she finds something to believe in with the UFO. And
Yeah. But I feel like kind of like, that Southern redneck, they're kind of taking the piss out of that, who's kind of, romanticized. Burt Reynolds was at the height of his stardom playing that character.
I don't know. I don't see it as playing down or looking down on those characters. I think it's more, if anybody is looked down on, it's Harry Dean Stanton's character.
Well, Harry Dean Stanton, but I feel like there's a certain, like, yeah, you're not Waylon Jennings in reality, Fred Ward. You're somebody that's has this romantic, egotistical view of himself, but you're really just kind of a guy. You're no better than Cindy Williams or your brother in some ways.
No, but that's the whole point of the movie, I think, is that
Yeah.
he drops that mask, he drops that guard for her. And I doubt that he's going to cease being a con man, but it is
Hmm.
something genuine in his life or something concrete in his life that he can look to and lean on and find, some degree of satisfaction or completeness in it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that character arc is some of the best things about this film because I mean, you can look at it as like the good old Southern boy, the Burt Reynolds, and you have Close Encounters of the Third Kind, both popular things at the time. Let's combine them together and then tell a story using that, and
Hmm.
we'll have a surefire commercial success.
Yeah. I
And
also think that
no.
Fred, I mean, his character, like Sheldon, is way more of a loser than
Yes.
any other Burt Reynolds, and I think intentionally so. Like
Yes.
I,
I agree, but I think that is the point.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That said, I really like the opening sequence of him basically destroying the vending machine in the bathroom of the gas station
Yep.
and using that to pay for his gas.
Yep. I mean, I like it tells you a lot where he's just kind of in that opening shot where he's just on the highway with the cruise control and the country music playing,
And
and
his
his
feet
feet
up
up on
on
the
the
dashboard.
dashboard
Yep.
somehow. Like
Yes.
how
And
yeah,
a bottle of beer in his hand.
I know. Honestly, like that I think is the most admirable aspect of his con man life. Like, wouldn't we all want to do that?
Yeah. It establishes his character very quickly.
Hmm.
And it kind of like, okay, here he is at his height, then he has to steal coins from the vending machine and shoplift because he has no money really. Can't
Hmm.
even pay for his gas.
Yeah.
It's kind of like here in the 70s, what a man dreams about being, and here's what he is actually.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I have any other things to really say about it. I mean, I like Cindy Williams. I like Harry Dean Stanton. Um, we brought up Human Highway, and I feel like there does seem to be some Human Highway. I think Human Highway was shot before this, or right around the same time. I gotta look up Human Highway, but it feels like
I think Human
instead
Highway
of nuclear
was
war,
around the same time. Yeah.
yeah, well,
Mhm.
instead of like nuclear war hanging over everything, it's kind of like I guess it's more nebulous faith-based thing.
Mhm.
Who should you have faith in? Um, Organized religion or people?
I think I prefer Human Highway to this, but I'm not saying it's a good movie.
No, I also really just kind of like the look of like everything in this. I like the look of the town. I like the look of Cindy Williams. I forget, does she live in a trailer?
I believe
Um,
she does.
but just, like everything kind of
She probably lives
looking,
in a trailer park of some sort or a mobile
yeah,
home park. Yeah.
yeah. But what shag carpeting and simulated wood wallpaper and like the curtains with flowers on it. Like it really does nail that kind of aesthetic of the late 70s and early 80s. Like you can almost smell kind of like what different places like that bar. Um, you know,
It
we don't
smells like
we
cigarettes, I can guarantee you that.
that's the thing. We don't get cigarettes in bars anymore. No,
Yeah,
just like
once once I'm gone, people will go, "What does cigarettes smell like in bars? What do bars smell like?"
yeah, no kidding. What did the smoking section? Maybe by then they'll actually get rid of the no smoking signs on airplanes, but I
Bars still smell bad.
they do, but for
They
different
do, but
reasons.
that's more for like spilled beer and stuff. Not
Yeah.
be,
Failed
not be,
vomit.
not because of I could the cigarettes coming out of the pores.
Hmm.
Hmm. No, but
You
no,
don't dare
I
wear a leather jacket to or a suede jacket to a bar back in the day.
oh yeah.
You'll smell like a cigarette for days.
Hmm.
Yeah. Just one more thing. So, did the music have anything to do with why it was released much later than when it was shot?
I just think
Or,
people looked at it and said this is not really commercial.
It
right?
does say on
Because,
Wikipedia that licensing complications um did impede it from reaching VHS until 87.
yeah, so
Um
I was going to discuss that a bit. So, I like the one film has nothing to do with this film at all. No
Hmm.
connection aside from the thing I'm going to make right now. But because I do feel like the music is an important part of it, is there's a film by Nicholas, what's his name? Rogue? Who's the guy that did Walkabout and
yeah, that's
yeah,
That
Rogue.
dick was rogue.
Rogue. Okay. Yeah, right. I'm just I'm confusing with someone else. Anyway, he has got a film with Art Garfunkel called Bad Timing, and they just have like tons of classic songs in it. Like Who, um I can't think about the other ones. I think there's like Keith Jarrett. Like it's just tons of really good songs, and they're really crucial to how the film flows. And I remember them talking about the film saying we can never get this film made today because the rights would be so expensive now to get all the music, whereas back then it
Yeah.
was really cheap. And I'm wondering if there was at some point in the film industry like that change where musicians were like, "Hey, you can't get my songs anymore for this cheap. You're gonna have to pay a lot more." And I feel like this film didn't have an enormous budget, and
Hmm.
maybe there was something where when it was trying to get distributed on home video or even in the
Yeah.
theaters, they were like, like the music rights was somehow impeding it. I know that was the case for the home video, but I'm wondering if that was true for the production as well too. But I think it sounds like you said, Robert, that they just weren't sure how to release it, or like when
I
to
mean,
release it, I guess, or because in this time, like 81, so like 82, I think is considered like one of the best years for Hollywood, right? Like
yeah, and
there's
that
like an insane amount of good movies that came out that year.
yes.
And
Mhm.
this would have just got completely lost. Like like even films that we like now like didn't make money in 82 because there were so
Like
many.
The Thing or Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. but yeah, like this would have been like let's say it was released 81, 82. I think it just would have been because it like to me it feels it feels more 70s than 80s. And I'm just saying that because of just the focus on like a character-driven drama
Mhm.
in like a really specific, like a really specific part of America. Like,
Hmm.
Yeah.
whereas I don't know if like I think in the 80s, yeah, there was the transition towards more, I guess you could say action films and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but I don't know like what kind of yeah, I think the dramas were of like, like all like kind of set in like big cities, sort of like middle class, upper class dramas, like not stuff like this. Like this is giving you like a slice of life
Yeah.
in a town, kind of like Paris, Texas a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I feel like, apparently this cost had a budget of 5 million, so that was kind of a big deal in that time.
really,
But it
5 million.
also, yeah, but it also doesn't have any stars.
Hmm. And it
I mean, Fred
doesn't
Ward
seem
wouldn't
that
be,
expensive.
Yeah,
yeah,
why is it
maybe
5
the
million?
music cost a lot.
Yeah.
Taxi Driver was 3 million.
Yeah.
And that was shot in New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
With, a big star, I would say.
Yeah. But, maybe the music cost a lot. There's a lot of music here.
Well, and like I will say
Or maybe they
the
thought, we're tapping into the Close Encounters uh crowd here, so we don't have to be uh all that concerned about money, so we'll just spend it where we want to spend it.
I will say too, the saucer at the end is a good special effect. Like it's convincing, it's well done. Maybe the design of it is not too inspired, but it doesn't look
No,
bad.
No, but I don't
they
think
have
$5
a
million dollars
helicopter.
worth.
Yeah, no,
But it
I don't
also,
either.
yeah, it also is on screen for like such a short amount of time that
Yeah.
But they also have a helicopter that they use for, and I'm sure that cost them a pretty penny.
that's true.
But
Which
it's
I do like that misdirect as well.
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, that
think
was great. Yeah.
I feel that's well directed there. Yes,
Hmm.
but I look at it like Fred Ward didn't do the right stuff until '83. So
Hmm.
really, Cindy Williams is the biggest star in this cast, and she's a television star, not a movie star.
Hmm. Well, I think Cindy Williams also was the one who was most prominently displayed on the theatrical posters,
Yes.
like her reading the UFO magazine.
Yep.
Hmm.
Um,
But
but
I feel like it's more of his film than her
I
film.
agree, but I
Yeah.
feel
yeah,
like, but if you had a star, it was Cindy Williams, but she was a television star. 'Cause Harry Dean Stanton may have been in Alien, but
and
Harry Dean
Godfather
Stanton was
too.
never really a star.
No,
No,
he's more of a star for like film buffs, but not like,
Yeah,
the average person. Yeah.
he's that guy that you see in a lot of films, and he's always good.
I mean the
But
weird thing too is that this is at least like when this was released, and so I think the 85 84 confusion thing, I think it actually played at Filmex Festival in July 84. And then
mm,
I think wide release would be October 85. But 84 would be a pretty sweet year for Harry Dean Stanton too, because he was in this, okay, at a film festival, but that was also Paris, Texas, and that was also Repo Man.
mhm.
Hmm.
So this is kind of in the time between the right stuff when it was released and Remo Williams when they're trying to make Fred Ward a star.
Yeah, so maybe
And
that's it. Like maybe they were like, well, let's release it now because he was in a big film or a somewhat big film, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, I just find Ebert's comment just very perplexing. Like he lumps this in with Repo Man and Hannah and her sisters. I'm like, okay.
yeah,
I
I don't see the connection.
I'm not sure, and he
I mean,
also
I can see the
mentions
Repo Man connection, I suppose. I mean, it has Harry Dean Stanton in it.
I can see the Hannah and her sisters connection at least as it being a a character study, although Hannah and her sisters, I think, has a lot more characters that it's following along that maybe
Yeah, but
have
it's
like
just
looser
like,
connections to each other.
yeah,
But
like
I
I think
think
the
it,
point he was trying to make though is that it's like a film that goes on its own, rhythm and beat, right?
yeah,
Like that's the point. And I don't feel like Hannah and her sisters is like that. Repo Man definitely like that.
Yeah.
Repo Man, nothing like what came before. Pretty weird
Hmm.
film. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more of the Hannah and her sister's comment that I'm not really getting. I get the Repo Man connection. That kind of makes sense, I guess.
But
Yeah.
I also think that like this probably is maybe I would give more slack to Ebert for comparing this to Hannah and her sisters than comparing Repo Man to Hannah and her sisters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, out of those three, yes, that makes more sense. Yeah,
And I
I
haven't
see what you're
seen
saying.
Turtle Diary, so which is the
I
other one.
recall it. I recall seeing it on Cisco and Ebert back in the day, but I can't recall anything about it.
Hmm.
I never
Hmm.
seen it.
Yeah.
But what is that kind of a relationship comedy rom-com, I guess, about them trying to save sea turtles?
Oh,
That's my
really?
understanding.
According to Wikipedia, it's a British film.
Okay.
Elements of romance, comedy, and drama. It has been described as a romantic comedy, featuring Glenda Jackson and Ben Kingsley.
Ooh.
Yes, or visiting sea turtles, and then
Okay.
yes. Oh, and Michael Gambon. Okay, well maybe, and then written by Harold Pinter, based on a novel
Interesting.
by Russell Hoban.
Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of want to check this out now. But no, I can see that. I will agree that at least this is a movie that goes to its own or goes by its own rhythm. I agree that that rhythm can falter at times, or be a little slow. But again, I like spending time with these characters, and yeah, I in kind of the same way that I do like spending time with some of the different characters in something like Twin Peaks. Even though it's not as out there, and I think
Mhm.
it's way more literal, um,
Yeah.
than
Well, you know,
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks also has that hook of who killed Laura Palmer, and this one, maybe the UFOs will show up for real at some point.
Which is
I
strange
don't know.
because
Yeah.
like as that is a big thing in this movie, and I know they mention it and that she does kind of have the idea that the aliens are going to land. I don't feel like that is as present, as maybe it should be, but it's more. I guess I see Stephen Williams' character as more like just believing in the idea of UFOs more than like there is going to be a UFO touchdown,
Hmm.
here. And both are true, but I feel in a lot of the moments where they that is something that like either Fred Ward is fed up with or somebody is calling her out on. It's more, I think, like her belief in just the existence of UFOs as opposed to there is going to be an encounter with UFOs. And maybe that's because the encounter is more prevalent in the maybe last third or quarter or so of the movie after
Yeah.
she goes on stage and kind of makes
Yep.
that prediction. Harry Dean Stanton's like, okay, well, we got to keep kicking this can down the road.
Yeah. But I mean, yes, it does establish that she believes in UFOs, or at least she's interested in them right off the bat. I think she's reading a UFO magazine early.
Hmm.
So, and we never do see her dream. We see her waking up for her dream, and
Hmm.
you see what cop lights outside. So maybe the lights she saw in her dream are actually the cop lights that she's misinterpreting.
Hmm.
So there is a very much a doubt about her, although the film doesn't seem to doubt her. She does seem to be the moral center of the film.
But it also doesn't validate her either, like
Yeah.
until the very end. And I kind of like that. I mean, again, I really like Close Encounters, but like you said, you're given proof that the aliens exist fairly early on in the film. And
Yes.
so those moments where he's arguing with Terry Garr and more or less abandoning his family, you can be on his side more because you know he's right.
Yes.
And I think here it's better handled, left ambiguous
Hmm.
because it's her conviction that he's drawn to, whether it's right or wrong. And I think, like you said, there's that element of faith, and you know,
And he does describe her as honest.
yeah, oh yeah, and
Yeah.
and um,
I mean, there's never a doubt that she believes.
No, no, and I think
She's
that's
not trying to run a con.
that's the thing. It's like that sincerity that like he lacks and his brother lacks and kind of everything that his life has led up to in this point lacks is kind of like that spark that ignites his and sustains his relationship with her. So I think that is a good choice not to give her not to prove her right in the film.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can just kind of like admire Fred Ward uh, falling for her.
Hmm. And I feel like they're both charming, and that goes a long way for this film.
Oh yeah.
Um, even when they're out drinking and they're doing what, tequila shots?
Yes. Yep. I also like
And
when
she doesn't
they're
know how to do it.
well, I
And
mean
he has to show her.
that's her story.
Yes.
But I also like where they're just kind of like driving in the night and just trying to figure out what they want to do for dinner. And he's just listing off like you know, all the all the
Fast food
restaurants. Yeah,
options.
exactly.
Not like a sit-down dinner.
Oh no, no, just
No, 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 that's too much.
quick and easy. And then she settles on pizza and then says, let's go out naked in the desert." And he's like, "Well, I can't eat anymore. Let's go do that."
I mean, that is kind of the charm of the film in a nutshell.
Oh yeah.
If
But
you're not
no,
put off by the country music.
no, I think it fits. And it is ever present. And then just kind of like the guitar twang is like a punchline to a lot of scenes as well.
Yeah.
And just like the volume as it rises, say when like a specific captivating event is presented. No, I like it. There's like a constant presence throughout the film. But yeah, I outside of that, I don't know if I have too much else to say about it.
No, I don't think I have anything else to say about it.
I have said my piece and I'm locked and loaded for my pick.
Well, let's do our segue then. So, Cody, what is next month's film?
Ah, shit. No, I have it. I just didn't know. I don't have the. Just give me 1 second. I wanted to get the year. Okay, I want to do Johnny Mnemonic,
Okay.
Okay.
1995.
Are we doing it in color or black and white?
I'll leave
Both.
that up to you. I've
Okay.
seen it in color, so I might do the black and white if I can find it. If I don't have Criterion Channel anymore, so
It's not on Criterion Channel anymore, but
oh, okay.
it's one of those that come and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do whatever I can find. I've seen it a few times. So and I'm gonna try to read I will read the short story if you guys are interested in doing that too. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
I'm interested in it.
good. I've heard
I
I
it's
don't
mean,
remember if I've
I've
seen it
heard
before or not.
I haven't seen it, but
you
I
guys
know
have
it's like a
seen
cult
it.
film.
Yeah, you guys have seen it. It was
Uh,
on TV all the time in the 90s.
I was busy
Nah,
in
I
the
kind of
90s.
actively avoided it, I think, back then.
I recall the reviews, but I also it didn't really seem to get to be a cult film until post Matrix.
Right. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Hey, there's another film that's like The Matrix." Yeah.
And well, I know very little about it other than it stars Keanu Reeves and it has
It has Dolph
it's just
Lundgren.
okay, and it's kind of cyberpunk.
It
That's
is
about the extent.
cyberpunk.
That's the extent of my knowledge. Is it a William Gibson film?
Well, it's a short story. He didn't direct it, but
Well, yeah, I meant
yeah.
it's based on it, what it is.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've read Neuromancer once, so I read New Rose Hotel for the podcast. So,
Yeah, that's true.
um, well, it's one of those been expecting a long time from Cody. So, and he managed
Yeah.
to surprise me somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I am certainly interested in checking it out.
Well, you have to be because it's our film.
That is our podcast. That is the deal. You pick it, I watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as it's like not 9.5 hours, I'll watch it.
No, it's only 90. Perfect time.
90 minutes. Like a proper damn movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the pick.
Well, I am looking forward to finally scratching it off my list.
It's good.
I think for me, maybe a re-scratch. We'll see. Yeah.
And I'm always, you know, Keanu is never the greatest actor, but he's always a good actor that makes interesting choices. So I'm at least interested in that.
Like in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
I can see why he picked it. He's not good at that one. Does he do a accent in this one?
No, he just
Well, there he's already off on a good foot.
it's an American accent. Yeah.
Yeah,
The short story has been collected in the book called Burning Chrome, which is a collection of his short fiction.
that's a famous collection too. I've heard that title.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have the collection. I'll probably get it from the library.
The library is a handy place. People should use the library more often. You're
Yeah.
welcome, Jim.
Well, I live by like three libraries, so it's
Yeah.
easy for me.
Yeah, I just went to the library because I couldn't find one online at the price I wanted. So and I found, here's Showa. I'll watch all 9.5 hours of it.
Good luck.
I did. I made it all the way through.
Whew, what'd you learn?
The Holocaust is bad.
Well,
Yeah, that's a good thing to remember.
That is a good thing to remember. People say they didn't know, but they knew. That's also something I learned. Anyhow, that should wrap up this episode. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at skyespodcast@gmail.com or leave us a note on Facebook. Also, feel free to leave a review on something like Apple or share links on social media. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us next month for Johnny Noinanik. Bye.
take care.
Bye.
Oh, I wish I had someone to love me, someone to call me their own. Oh, I wish I had someone to live with, 'cause I'm tired of living alone. Oh, please meet me tonight in the moonlight. Please meet me tonight all alone. For I have a sad story to tell you. It's a story that's never been told. I'll be carried to the new till tomorrow, leaving my poor darling alone, with the cold prison bars all around me, and my head on a pillow of stone. Now I have a grand ship on the ocean, all mounted with silver and gold. And before my poor darling was fly. Then I'd fly to the arms of my poor darling, and there I'd be willing to die.
Watch the skies everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.